We have recently returned from our second transatlantic on one of Princess's newest ships, Sun Princess. And this time we treated ourselves to a balcony cabin. Now, as I'm always looking for the best value, we opted for a deluxe balcony with an obstructive view. So in this video I'm going to show you around the room, take a proper look at everything and give you our honest thoughts, the good bits, the not so good bits, and whether we'd actually book this cabin again. Let's start with a really quick overview of Sun Princess. Sun Princess is one of two Sphere-class ships, which are the newest ships in the Princess fleet, alongside her very new sister ship, Star Princess. She took her inaugural cruise in February 2024 and splits her time between the Mediterranean and the Caribbean, so chances are if you're looking at booking her, it'll be one of these two regions. She carries around 4,300 guests, 1,600 crew, has 21 decks, and along with her sister ship, they're the biggest ships in the fleet, so it definitely feels like a step up in size compared to the older ships. Our room, 11119, is, as you can imagine, on deck 11. Now, one thing straight away, Sphere-class ships have done away with the deck names, which I thought was a bit sad. It's one of those small details that you don't think you're going to care about until it's gone. We didn't really choose this location, the obstructive view rooms had booked up quite quickly, and I really wanted to save a bit of money while still having a balcony, so we took what we could get. That said, deck 11 actually turned out to be a pretty decent spot. We were nice and close to the dome, the Lido food areas and the casino, which we definitely made good use of on this trip, especially with all the sea days. It was a bit further away from places like the International Cafe and the buffet, so there was a bit more walking involved, but nothing too bad. Above and below us were just other cabins, which is always what you want really, so we had no noise problems. And to be fair, we've never really had any noise issues on Princess anyway, even when we've been directly below the Lido deck. We did hear next door snoring a couple of times, but it must have been some seriously loud snoring, because apart from that we didn't hear a thing, even when we knew they were in their rooms. So overall, I'd be happy staying in this location again without any hesitation. Right, let's get onto the room itself. Now, on the Sphere-class ships, the layout has had quite a big overhaul, and it does feel quite noticeable compared to the rest of the fleet. On most Princess ships, you'll usually walk in and you've got that little entry section where the wardrobe and the bathroom sort of create a separate space before you get into the main room. That's been pretty standard across the fleet, from the older ships like Grand Princess all the way through to the Royal class like Discovery. This layout feels a bit more open straight away and a bit more modern, but I'll come back to whether I actually think it works better later on. Starting with the bed area, the bed is a good size king, made up from two larger singles pushed together. If you're worried about feeling the join, you really don't notice it at all. And if you were using this as a twin setup, there'd still be a really good size per person, so no complaints there. The beds themselves are really comfortable, we both slept very well the whole trip, which is always a good sign. You get 4 pillows as standard, but if you're like me and you like an extra one, you can always ask your cabin steward or order one through the app, it's really easy to do. There are bedside tables which may be a little bit smaller than on some of the older ships, but still perfectly usable. You've got enough space for things like your phone, glasses, a drink, just your usual nighttime bits. One thing I did notice though, there are no lamps directly on the bedside tables, which I did miss slightly. You do get reading lights just above the bed, but I'll be honest, they felt a little bit fragile when pulling them out. I was half convinced I was going to break one, so I didn't really use them very much. We mostly just used the main lights instead, which you can control from both sides of the bed, so that part is actually really convenient. And of course, on the newer ships you've got power sockets everywhere. Honestly, it's one of those things you don't think about until you go back on an older ship and realise how few there are. Each person gets a USB-A, USB-C and a US style socket, so charging multiple devices overnight is really easy. You can have your phone by the bed, charge cameras and watches, everything without having to juggle plugs. Also, the padded wall behind the bed isn't just there for looks, it actually helps with sound reduction as well, which is a nice little touch. and I did quite like having the bed near the balcony doors. There's something quite nice about just lying there and being able to look out at the sky or sea, especially on sea days. The TV is positioned directly opposite the bed, which I think is exactly where you want it. It's a large, good quality wall mounted TV, and realistically, if you're watching TV, you're probably doing it from the bed rather than the sofa. There's a good mix of films, TV series, ship information, and you can also use it to check things like dining options, what's on that evening, and your room status. Next to the bed is a good sized sofa. It's comfortable enough to sit on, and it does pull out into a bed if you've got more than 2 people staying in the room. I think this layout works quite well. It feels like everything has its own place without the room feeling cramped or overcrowded. The desk is a really nice size, and this is actually one of those areas I ended up using more than I expected. You've got a large mirror with built-in lighting, which is great for getting ready, and there's enough space to spread things out without it feeling cluttered. The chair is comfortable enough to sit in for a while. I used it for doing my hair, makeup, and even did a bit of work on my laptop with no problem. You've got your room phone here, plus even more sockets, USB, US and European. So again, no shortage of places to plug things in. There are also additional sockets just off to the side, which I assume are there if you want to request a kettle. This was actually the first cruise where I didn't ask for one just to see if I'd miss it, and I did, just a little bit. So I'll definitely be asking for one on the next cruise. Under the desk, the left hand side, you've got a fridge. It's a decent size, works really well, and is perfect for drinks, snacks or anything you need to keep cool like medication. Above that is a drawer where you'll find the hairdryer, which was really good quality. One thing to note though, that this drawer does get very warm because of the fridge underneath, so just be a bit careful what you store in there. Definitely avoid things like chocolate unless you want to come back to a melted mess. Now onto the wardrobe and storage. In this layout, the wardrobe and the bathroom face each other at the entrance rather than being grouped together like on the older ships. The wardrobe itself is a bit smaller than what you might be used to on other Princess ships, but you do get plenty of hangers. At the bottom, you've got shelves for shoes or folded clothes. To the left of the wardrobe, if you're facing it, there are several covered shelves, 2 open shelves, and at the bottom 3 good-sized drawers. So for 2 people on a 2-week cruise, I'd say it's just about enough. We had a mix of clothes for different temperatures, and we didn't find there was enough hanging space for everything we wanted. I think you might also struggle if you've bought several suits and full-length dresses, as it's only the right side of the wardrobe that has the length to be able to hang them without them hitting a shelf. Now, does it look more modern and neater? Yes, definitely. But in terms of practicality, I'm not totally convinced it's better. I did miss the huge amount of hanging space you get on the older ships, and there are a few little quirks. If the wardrobe door on the left is open, it can block the bathroom door, which means you can't get out of it. If both of the wardrobe doors are open, you then can't leave the wardrobe space. And if you don't quite shut the doors properly, the wardrobe light then stays on. They are only minor annoyances, but they're the kind of things you do tend to notice after a few days. Just a quick mention here, the storage in the left hand side of the wardrobe, the top 3 shelves is where you'll also find the safe. It's your typical room safe. It is big enough to fit jewellery, valuables, wallet, but it's not big enough to fit a laptop. On the opposite wall to the wardrobe, you've got a good size full-length mirror, which is always handy when getting ready. And on the wall here as well is the thermostat. It's really simple to use. You just go up and down arrows for warmer or cooler, and you can also take it off auto and override to control the fan speed. I will say I actually really like this. It's nice being able to control not just the temperature but the speed of the fan as well. So if you want to cool down the room a bit quicker or just have a bit more airflow, you do have that option. Onto the bathroom, which is on the right as you enter the room. They have put a note on the door now to highlight there is a lip just as you enter, so just bear this in mind if you have mobility issues. It's not too bad, just something to be aware of that all bathrooms have these apart from the accessible rooms. This bathroom is compact to say the least. Now all cruise ship bathrooms are small, but because this one's more oblong than squarish, it did mean we both generally got dressed outside the bathroom once we'd showered. Directly to the right is the toilet. Now don't forget with cruise toilets that this is an evac system and is very sensitive. Don't put anything down there apart from the toilet paper provided, and even that, don't put too much down, otherwise it will just block up. If it does block, do not keep flushing, it just makes it worse and potentially overflows. Just ring guest services and they will come and fix it for you. They do provide a toilet brush, which I like, and they put the sanitary bags on the wall next to the loo, so bonus points there. The toilet paper is for once in a reasonable, easy to reach place, and there are tissues just above. Remember, these are face tissues and not to be put down the toilet. Put them in the bin, which is also next to the loo. Above the toilet are your hand towels, you get one each. The sink area is a good size, not as big as some of the other ships due to the more compact bathroom, but it's fine. Enough space to put a few bits out on the side without it getting in the way. They do provide hand wash and body lotion, and my favourite face cloths, which I always am super pleased to see because I do use them. And lastly, on the sink area, they do provide 2 glasses. At the end of the sink on the wall, you'll also find the shaver socket. For anyone in the UK, our shaver sockets don't fit. I believe these are European ones, correct me if I'm wrong here, if anyone knows, and have a slightly different size. So don't try and cram it in there, it just won't work. In the corner there are a couple of shelves to pop your belongings onto to keep the sink area tidy and easier for your room steward to clean. I mention this a lot, but anything top heavy or likely to topple, lay it down as the bars aren't very high on these, and in rough seas things can try and make an escape. Underneath the sink you'll find your bath towels, 1 per person, but if you don't mind reusing your towels, we hang ours up on the back of the door, and our room steward will still give us a couple more, which is handy if, like me, you have long hair and you prefer to have 2 towels. There is a spare toilet roll and an extra box of tissues also on this shelf. Now on to the best thing about this bathroom, and to be honest I might even say the room. The shower was incredible. I had the best water pressure I've ever had on a cruise. It was better than at home and I loved it. The water was always warm, so no issues at any time of the day, and almost just as good, no shower curtain. I was so happy. I really hate shower curtains, they try and fight you when you're in the shower. I'm on the round side and I had no issues at all in here. The temperature controls were easy to reach to turn on before you actually got in the shower. The adjustable shower was a good height for most people. There is a little storage shelf if you want to use it. And I was also really pleased to see shampoo, body wash and a separate conditioner provided. I stopped taking my shampoo a few cruises ago and used theirs as it leaves my hair really soft, but I had forgotten my conditioner as it's not normally supplied. I take my own. So having one provided, I was impressed. There is also a grab rail inside the shower for anyone that needs a bit of help with mobility, or for just about anybody in rough seas. For people with sensitive skin, just to note, the body wash etc. that's provided is scented, but it's really mild, and I think it would cater for most. Lastly, there is a fold-out washing line in the shower too, handy if you have a swimming costume or clothes that are a bit too wet to hang in your cabin. Lastly, let's talk about the balcony. This was a restricted view balcony, and we had been in these types before where the balcony was solid. I would take these over the small standard balconies any day because I don't like my knees touching the glass when I sit down. The reality is that when you sit down you can't see anything over the rail though. If this bothers you, this is not the room for you. I would also say that because of being at the front but at the side, it's much windier than the other forward-facing obstructed balconies we have had on the Royal class ships such as L102 on Sky Princess or M104 on Majestic. I'll link Majestic's video in the description, so if you want to have a look, check it out. The balcony is a really good size, and if you don't really want to sit in the sun but want to be outside, these are perfect because you get a good amount of shade thanks to the balcony above. My biggest disappointment with this balcony was the chairs. With these types of obstructed balconies at the front of the ship, the balcony is much larger than average, and normally it means you get at least a reclining chair and a footstool each, so you can make much more use of the space. But on Sun it seems that they have not given you those. You get 2 rigid chairs which aren't particularly comfortable and no footstool. So you have a lovely giant balcony that doesn't make use of the space. I did find out that if you paid for a premium deluxe balcony that they did come with a much nicer chair and a footstool. So I do hope this isn't some punishment for having a cheaper balcony room. I have fed this back on my form, so I do hope in the future they can at least put a footstool, even if not a nicer chair, to relax and enjoy the space. Now in all honesty, I did not ask for a footstool or a nicer chair, so if I had they might have actually swapped it out, so that bit's on me. So that's our room tour of 11119. It's a great room. The decor is modern and bright, the space is good, the extra sockets are super. The balcony is a great size and showering is amazing. We would 100% stay in this room again. The little niggles that get me were the chairs on the balcony felt a bit stingy not to have a recliner and a footstool. I prefer the wardrobe space on the older ships, and I could see the bathroom being difficult space wise if you have mobility issues and need aids due to its rectangular shape, but none of these are bad enough to put me off. So thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to make sure you see all of our new content as soon as it's up. But until next time, happy travels.